Okay, you're good.
All right, thank you everyone for attending the Farmland webinar. It's just going to be a brief presentation, probably about 10 to 15 minutes. And then I'm going to open it up to an open discussion or a Q&A format for anyone with questions or concerns, or who wants to know more information about the program. Let me share my screen here. Okay, so the Pennsylvania Agricultural Conservation Easement Purchase Program was developed in 1988 to help slow the loss of prime farmland to non-agricultural uses. For the past 40 years or so, so much farmland has been lost due to different types of development, whether it be residential housing, commercial development, industrial warehouses. And this program's main objective is to stop that sprawl and protect the valuable farmland throughout the state and throughout Montgomery County. Pennsylvania is the national leader in farmland preservation. As of December, 5,813 farms have been preserved in 59 different counties in the state, totaling 591,819 acres. And in 2020 alone, 177 farms totaling 14,727 acres were preserved statewide. The state has set aside for this year $38 million for farmland preservation. So they do make a big commitment each year to us, and they are constantly allocating their funds to the program, so that they do think it's a very important program and take pride in what they do. The Montgomery County's farmland preservation program started in 1990, with our first farms being preserved in 1992. More than $107 million has been put towards these efforts. And to date, Montgomery County has preserved 175 farms, totaling more than 10,000 acres. These farms include dairy farms, equestrian centers, farms raising sheep, goats, cattle, other different livestock. We have different nurseries, including Christmas tree farms, farms with a bunch of different varieties of fruits and vegetables. Also seems to be popping up as well. And most, if not all, of our preserved farm owners are enrolled in Act 319. However, enrollment is not a prerequisite to preserve a farm. So if you're not sure what Act 319 is, it is also known as the Clean and Green Act. And this act protects farmland, forest land, and open space by allowing land to be assessed at value for the specific use rather than fair market value. To explain just a bit further, fair market value would consider all uses or the highest and best use of the property. However, when enrolled in Act 319, your value changes and considers only the worth of that property for agricultural purposes, such as tillable land or woodland or pasture land. 10.5 million acres are enrolled statewide. The average reduction in fair market assessed value for enrollees is roughly 50%. So you do see a significant decrease in your assessed value. The program is voluntary and generally requires a minimum of 10 acres remaining in one of the 3 designated use categories. Those categories are agricultural use, agricultural reserve, and forest reserve. The agricultural use is defined as land used for the purpose of producing an agricultural commodity. This could be livestock, this could be vegetables or crops, or anything produced on your land. The agricultural reserve is open space land used for outdoor recreation. And the forest reserve is land, usually 10 or more acres, capable of producing timber. Land removed from its designated category for a non-permitted use is subject to rollback tax imposed for up to 7 years, plus 6% simple interest. So it can be costly to leave the program, but it is very beneficial to the landowner if you know that you will stay in the program for years. So what are the benefits of preserving your farmland? First and foremost, financial help. It's an investment in you, it's an investment in your farm, and it's an investment in your family. A lot of these farmers have been farming for generations, some 100 to 200 years. And preserving your farm The money from preserving your farm has been used by farmers to pay off their debts, their mortgages. They also use the money to purchase machines or livestock, equipment, vehicles, etc. And this money is 100% yours, so it's totally up to you how you would like to use it. Another benefit is it assists landowners with estate planning and helps keep the farms in the family. Like I said, some of these farms have been in the family for 100 to 200 years, and a lot of these farmers do take pride in that, and the generations to come surely look forward to it. The land does stay in private ownership, and the owners continue to pay taxes. We do purchase the conservation easement, and what that ultimately means is we're purchasing the development rights. So once we go to settlement and we purchase the conservation easement, we ensure that the land will be farmed in perpetuity, so it will be forever farmed. Preserved farmland is more affordable for the next generations of farmers to purchase. Right now, land is very expensive, as some of us may know. And, this next new generation of young farmers don't really have the money to spend on brand new land. So preserving your farmland could make it affordable to them. And undeveloped land does require less expenditures for future infrastructure and utilities. This goes for your personal investments on your land and also municipal wide. So skipped ahead there. So say you like the benefits and you're curious as to if you are eligible or not. There are two sources of funding that go into this program. It is county and state funded. To qualify for the program and to qualify for state funding, a property must have joined the local ASA. They must contain 50% of soils which are available for agricultural production in USDA and NRCS classes 1 through 4. These are just loosely defined as highly productive soils. You also must be at least 35 acres or have at least 10 farmed acres and be adjacent to permanently preserved land, or have at least 10 farmed acres and grow a crop unique to the area. If you are curious about the crops that are unique to the area, they are in our guidebook, or you can reach out to me if you would like a list of those crops. To qualify for a county funded purchase, a property can be less than 35 acres, just as long as you have 10 farmed acres. So if you have a 10-acre property and you farm all 10 of those acres, you are eligible for a county funded easement. So I did say an ASA. For those of you that might not know what that is, it is an agricultural security area. A farm's first step in becoming preserved is enrolling in the ASA, and this protects farms against local ordinances and nuisance lawsuits that would affect normal farming activities. ASA designation also provides special consideration in review of farmland condemnation by state and local government agencies. And an ASA qualifies land for consideration under the easement purchase program at the landowner's request if the ASA has at least 500 acres enrolled. Our program has been around for a while in Montgomery County, so most, if not all, of our ASA areas do have 500 acres already. And I will just say, if you do own a farm and you are ASA eligible, there is absolutely nothing but benefits to enrolling in the program. And there's no hurt to do it. It will only help you out. If you are interested in joining a local ASA, you should contact the municipality where your farm is located. So applying to the program. The application deadline is February 1st of each year. Application is available online or it can be mailed to you, and it is free to apply. We will consider everyone as long as you meet the bare minimum criteria. There is absolutely, again, there's no hurt in applying. We'll review your application, make sure you're eligible. If you are not eligible, we will reach out to you and let you know. But if you are, we will certainly move forward with your application. So what is the information that you need to include in your application? This will include basic contact information, acreage or parcel number of your property, what type of farm you have, any mortgages or liens on the property, a map or aerial image showing the farm, a basic soils report, crop and or livestock report, a soil conservation plan, a copy of the deed of ownership, and a copy of the ASA information. If you have noticed, some of these are bolded in red. These are the things about your application that we absolutely need. And if you are unsure of how to find this information, again, reach out to me and I am absolutely more than happy to help you find this information and pass it along to you. So after you apply, after February 1st, what happens? The MCPC staff will rank and score each applicant to the program, and of course, rescore any applicants from the previous years that may have not accepted our offer or were not given an offer. The ranking criteria is listed in the back of the program guidebook. Just a quick ranking criteria might include the soil type, the location to other farms, your road frontage, percentage of land in crop or pasture. So our ranking criteria, it does go in depth and it is a lengthy criteria. And we have developed it to rate fair scores across the board. So based on the ranking order and how much money the county has to spend, the Farmland Preservation Board makes decisions on which properties to appraise to determine the easement value. And if you see here at the bottom of the slide, the easement value is what you will receive. This is the check you will receive on the day of settlement. We determine this value by taking the market value of the property minus the value of the property as if it were preserved. And what comes next after that? After the board decides which ones to appraise, they will tour the properties. The board will then make an offer by early summer after we come to a meeting and discuss those farms. Applicants can then accept or reject the offer or choose to get a second appraisal done at their own expense. Once an easement value is agreed upon, the board makes a public offer. The farm then gets surveyed to determine the final acreage. And then once we have our final acreage, and we have our final value, we then send all the paperwork to the state and get their approval. Once we receive their approval, and if it's a state-funded farm, they will then send us their check, and we will move to settlement. So say you preserve your farm and you're wondering what comes next and what are your different options that you have. The first thing are inspections. We do inspect our preserved farms at least once a year, some every other year. Basically what we look for is just to make sure that you're following your conservation practices outlined in your conservation plan. And we come out just to make sure that your farm is still being farmed. Some options that you have for the preserved farm include one additional residential opportunity. So the landowner can build an additional residence or subdivide off an existing home. This curtilage of the subdivision cannot exceed 2 acres, and it should not be conducive to your farming operation. So it should be located on a piece of your property that, you know, it's not in the middle of cropland or pasture land. Maybe it's off to the side or the corner of your property to where it doesn't prevent you from losing any agricultural value. You can subdivide a preserved farm. This criteria is outlined in our guidebook in the appendices, and only farms of 100 acres or greater can do this. A change of ownership. Say you own a preserved farm and you're looking to sell it. Well, within 30 days, you will need to notify the program administrator of the name and address of the new owner, the price per acre, and the book and page number of the new deed. If you are looking to purchase an already preserved farm, that is certainly acceptable. We welcome that. The only thing you really need to do is understand that you are purchasing a preserved farm and you need to follow the guidelines outlined in our guidebook and make sure that the property is still being farmed. Say you're not a farmer and you purchase this land. Well, you can lease your land out. We certainly have a lot of landowners that own a preserved farm in the county, and they're not farmers themselves. You do have the option to lease it out to a farmer. And that's a deal that is specifically done between you and that farmer. The county does stay out of that transaction and out of that agreement. But that is certainly an option if that's an avenue you would like to take. So here's a farmland preservation map. This is up to date. This includes 6 farms that we went to preservation on this year. As you can see, most of the farms are clustered in that northwestern section of the county, up in Upper Hanover, Douglas, New Hanover. a nice cluster in Franconia. Simply, this is just the rural part of the county. This is where a lot of the highly productive agricultural soils are found. And there hasn't been much sprawl from development out this way. So the Pennsylvania Farm Bill. The PA Farm Bill does provide support for the Commonwealth's leading industry in several areas. And they also did just renew the funding, or they just renewed the funding for the 2021 year. And the announcement should be made soon on where they will allocate that money. Here is a list of programs that they do provide funding for. As you can see, it is a very diverse list. So they don't just go out and support one program. They do take pride in supporting many programs and allocating that money. So it's spent, in a very diverse way. So this will basically conclude the presentation. Again, like I said, we will open it up to discussion at the end. This is my contact information. I am always more than happy to talk with anyone, answer questions, just have a discussion, maybe about things that you're thinking. If you already own a preserved farm and you're thinking about changing the use, anything like that. This first link I have here on this slide will take you directly to the county's farmland website. And the second link will take you directly to the guidebook. I'm more than happy to mail out a guidebook, email out a guidebook. Again, don't hesitate to reach out to me for anything. And that will conclude the presentation. So we can open it up to any discussion. I'm not sure if anybody, I failed to mention this, but there was a chat function. So I'm not sure if anybody used it yet to ask questions, but feel free to just speak up at this point and ask anything that might be on your mind.
I have a question. Can I go?
Absolutely, John.
I don't have 10 acres, but I am adjacent to 35 acres preserved. Would I still qualify?
Yes, you would qualify since you are directly adjacent to an already preserved farm.
Okay. I'm speaking for my neighbors. So we're thinking about once I'm preserved, then the next neighbor would be attached to preserved farm. So they would be able to preserve also. Is that how that would work? Or could we do it all at the same time?
I'm sorry, explain that just one more time.
So there's a 35 acre farm on the one side of me.
Yes.
And I'm in between another plot of land that's contemplating preservation also. Do my neighbors have to wait for me to be preserved, or can it be done at the same time?
They would have to wait for you to be preserved and for you to go to settlement. And
so they probably couldn't do it in the same year. It'd have to be one year, one the next year.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, this is Ken. Can we have a copy of your slides?
Yes, absolutely. So the presentation is being recorded, so it will be posted to the website. And it should be, if anybody has Facebook here, I think it would also be blasted on our Facebook page, or I could even email it to you directly if you would like.
We can certainly post your presentation on our website too. That's not a big deal.
Great, yeah. So yeah, there will be plenty of avenues that it will be blasted on.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
I have a quick question.
Sure.
So if I buy a few different properties, but they all touch, let's just say, but they're not all one parcel, does that affect it at all? Like if I buy a little bit here, a little bit there over the years?
Yeah, it wouldn't matter how many parcels it is, as long as you own the property.
Okay.
The total acreage that you are looking to preserve is what will matter.
Okay, so it doesn't have to be all one, just the same name, but not one parcel.
Well, let me clarify that. My name's Ann. I'm the section chief for county planning at the Montgomery County Planning Commission. They would need to be adjacent.
Yeah, okay.
Mhm.
That's good to know. Okay, so as long as they're touching, that's all that matters.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, all right, thank you.
This is Jim Myers calling. Does the county have a preference whether they use the farmland preservation funds from the state or from themselves?
No, not necessarily. I've only been in this program for 1 year, so maybe Ann, you could have a better answer on this, but we have the money to spend. But there really is no preference if we use the state money or the county money. We're just happy to preserve farmland, that's for sure.
Is there a benefit to the property owner for one as opposed to the other?
No, I would just add that the pot of money that we have from the state is bigger than what the county contributes each year towards the program. So there was a time where we didn't have much county funding at all, and we were only purchasing easements on farms that were eligible for state funding. That has shifted a little bit over the years with the current county commissioners, so we are getting county funds from them. At this point, I would say it doesn't really matter, but we definitely have more state dollars to spend than county dollars.
The primary product that we produce is maple syrup. Would that be eligible?
It is eligible. We actually added maple syrup and maple sugar products to our guidebook as a crop unique to the area. So as long as you have more than 10 acres being farmed, and I believe that you do, you would be eligible for the program.
Okay, thank you.
Question, do I have to be in an agriculture security zone before I apply, or can I apply almost simultaneously? Because it's December now, and I'm not sure how much time is required to get into the security zone. There is a security zone on adjacent property to my farm. I'm in Marlboro, but I have to go into Upper Hanover's ag security program since Marlboro doesn't have one. So could those two applications run simultaneously, or do I have to wait until I'm officially in the zone before I can apply?
Yeah, so you would not have to wait. You could apply before being in the ASA area. I understand maybe depending on what municipality you're in, it could take anywhere from like 3 to 6 months. We would just require that you're in the ASA before settlement or before any paperwork goes to the state, which is a little bit before the settlement. So as long as you hop on it soon, you would certainly be in the clear, but it's not required to concurrently do it.
Okay, same question for the conservation plan. I have a conservation plan, but it's not recently updated. So could I be updating that while the application is running with you?
Ann, do you want to take that one?
So as long as the type of farming that you're doing hasn't changed,
Mhm.
you had the conservation plan written, the current plan that you have should be fine.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you very much.
Sure.
Appreciate it.
This is Kristen. I have a question. I know you said that the county doesn't necessarily get involved in tenant landlord relationships, but since it's in the county's interest to see it continuing to be farmed, is there ever any informal linking between possible tenants and landowners?
We don't necessarily have a list. I could certainly provide you with maybe a small list of names, especially one. He's a member of the Farm Bureau. He's the president of the Farm Bureau, actually. And he doesn't own a preserved farm, but he does lease a lot of the land out in the county. So he's a good contact to go to. But here at the county, we don't provide a list or anything. We don't keep anything updated.
Sure. Yeah, if you'd be willing to share what you do have, though, that would be great.
Yep, absolutely, we'll do. If you wouldn't mind, maybe just give me an email.
Sure.
And I can follow up with you that way.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you. I will do that.
You're welcome.
Hi, this is Ken again. I'm sorry. Where will you be posting the recording, or will you be sending a link out to all of us by email?
Can you speak up, Ken? I didn't really hear you.
Oh, sorry. I'm asking about the recording and the slides. Where will they be posted, or will you be sending out a link by email to us?
Yeah, I could certainly send it by email to you if you'd like. If you want to just email me, that way I have your contact information, or just leave it in the chat if you're on your computer.
I was gonna say, we could just email it to everyone who registered, because we certainly have people who registered but haven't attended tonight, so that way everyone has it.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's actually a good idea. And yeah, we can just email it to the whole list of registrants. That way all of you should receive it.
Good idea. Thank you.
Mhm. Any other questions from anyone? Concerns, comments? All right, well, I
This
guess,
question-
oh,
Oh, I'm sorry, excuse me. This
go ahead.
question from someone who's new to the ballgame. Do you actually know of farms that are for sale that you're looking to do something with?
I'm sorry, you're very quiet. Could you just speak up? a
Oh,
little?
okay. So you didn't, since we're new to the ballgame, does Montgomery County actually have farms that are for sale that they're looking for buyers to do this program with?
I don't think we necessarily keep track of farms that are for sale. And is that true?
Sometimes I hear about it through the grapevine, I guess. I know there's definitely a farm for sale in Lower Salford, at least last I heard. I'm not sure if it's sold yet, but that's already preserved. I wasn't sure if you were asking about farms that aren't preserved or farms that are.
I guess either at this point, farms that would be eligible to be preserved or ones that are already preserved. I guess if they're already preserved, then they would be at a lower cost to the buyer. Is that true?
In theory, yes.
Okay.
They would not be as expensive as land that hasn't been preserved.
Okay.
But I will include, when I send out this recording, I will include Steve's contact information and mine, and hopefully that will be enough for anyone who's interested in staying in touch with us to continue
Thank you.
to correspond.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
Welcome. Any other questions? All right. I guess with that, we will conclude the presentation. Again, we will be emailing everybody a recording of the presentation and the slides, and my contact information along with Ann's. So feel free to reach out to me with any questions. Again, give me a phone call, give me an email, and I'd be happy to talk to anybody with any concerns that they may have.
Okay, thank you.
All right. And thank you everyone for attending. It is certainly appreciated.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Enjoy your nights.
Thank you.